Hey everybody, it's Simon Gray again. It's my second scope of the day. I'm coming to you from Nottingham, England to talk about careers, jobs and how to find a job. So a few people on the line now. I can't say that. Alida, are you looking for a job? Are you in the right place? If not, don't worry. So I want to give you 3 top tips in a moment as to what to do to help yourself find a job today, whatever your situation. Whether you're in work, whether you're out of work, whatever the situation, doesn't matter, whatever your level. But before I do that, second scope, really enjoying doing this stuff. Posted the first one to my Facebook page, Career Codex, facebook.com/Career Codex this morning. It's a bit strange though because it puts it up as a portrait rather than a landscape shot, so it don't look very good for YouTube. But those of you guys that are on, does anyone have a question about the job market? Any problems that they've got? Any questions? Because I'll do a little bit of Q&A now while we wait for a few people to get on. If anyone's got any questions, type something in the box and I'll do my best to answer. While you do that, just so I can prove that I know what I'm talking about, I'm author of 2 books, Super Secrets of the Successful Job Seeker, and more recently, my second book has just come out. It's been a lot of hard work, 9 months of work. Super Secrets of Successful Executive Job Search. So really positioned in that space to help people. What football team do I support? I'm from Nottingham, so I have to support Nottingham Forest. But there we go. We got Notts County, but yeah, I guess Nottingham Forest, although they're not what they once were. Anyway. Let's talk about the job market. 3 things that you can do today to find a job. So the first thing to do, number 1, is to stop obsessing over your CV. Now, I worked in recruitment for about 10 years, 6 years for an agency, and then 5 years starting and then running my own recruitment company. And people used to come in and they used to give me a CV. And when I hadn't found them a job in the space of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they'd send me a new version, an amended version. They'd change a sentence here, a sentence there, as if it was going to make a big difference. And in actual fact, it never did, because while it's important to have a really good CV, don't get me wrong, and it's important to have good content on there. What's even more important is what you decide to do with it once you've written it. Okay, so it's not just about the document, it's what you then decide to do with it. Because when you send a CV out to an employer, when you send a CV out to a recruiter like I used to be, I can tell you, they rarely read it from start to finish. And they're looking for something specific on that CV. And if they don't see it immediately, they're going to pass on to the next CV. So you're having a bit of a difficult time. Someone's asking me, why are you explaining this on Periscope? Because a lot of people out there probably need to find jobs. I must admit, I'm new to Periscope, okay? And when I go on Periscope, last night, I was listening to this lad chatting about rubbish in his bedroom. Do you want to listen to that? I don't, not really. I'm trying to give some free advice here to people who are looking for a job. So if that's cool, I'll carry on. You know, I don't want to listen. I don't want to. There was another one that I watched the other night, and there was somebody just eating a packet of crisps. What's that all about? Crazy, isn't it? Wouldn't you rather get some free information? Anyway, yeah, haters gone. Nice one. Okay, cool. You're in the wrong Periscope. You just click the button and go. Anyway, I'm not going to get distracted now. I'm going to carry on. So recruiters and employers don't always read a CV, okay? So don't worry too much about that. The main thing that you need to think about on your CV, you've got to spell check it, all right? And you've got to make sure the grammar's right. Because if the spelling's rubbish and the grammar's rubbish, I'm sorry, you are not getting an interview, okay? And you've also got to think, once you've read your CV, so what, all right? So if I read somebody's CV and it just, you know, it's just a bit of narrative and there's no punchline to it, a bit like a joke that goes wrong, then there's no point, is there? There's no point. So you've got to answer the so what question. And the best, layout's absolutely important, because people don't read, they're looking for headings and white space, yeah? So they can get the message quickly and instantly. The other thing that's important is to tell stories on your CVs, to tell achievements. So these are things that have a start, a middle and an end. And we all love stories, don't we? Yeah. When we were kids, I've got 2 little boys, And when I go home tonight, I'm going to read them a story because they love stories. And we all get stories as kids and we love stories as adults. And that's exactly what an achievement is. I went into this business, I did this, and as a result, this happened. I contributed this to the organisation. So think about stories, think about so what. Anyway, that's number 1 point. So after number 1 comes number 2. So the second point on your job search and on the 3 things I'm talking to you about to help you find a job now, whatever your situation, is to follow up on applications. So you've written your CV, okay, you've completed an application form, and then you send it off to a recruiter or an employer. And most people, in my experience, just wait. But the people who wait in life are the people who wait in life, okay? If you want to have success and be successful and get somewhere, you've got to follow up. You've got to chase people down because people forget. You know, everyone sends everything via email these days, or texting. I can't stand texting. Everyone sends everything via email these days. And as a result, emails get lost. When I ran my recruitment company, there was a guy called Matt, and he reminded me, which is one of the reasons I wanted to do this talk tonight. He reminded me that he'd applied to my recruitment company about three or 4 years ago. Excuse me, it's been a long day. 3 or 4 years ago, and he sent me a CV via email, and I deleted it. I didn't read it. But then he phoned me up 2 or 3 days later and said, he said, can I speak to Simon? Yeah. And we had a bit of a chat. He said, I've sent you my CV. I don't know whether you noticed, but I've got some relevant work experience. Really important. If you've got no experience, get some free unpaid work experience. And I pulled his CV out, had a read of it, invited him for an interview, came in for a first interview. He was well-dressed, smart. He researched my business, asked some really good questions. Got him back for a second interview that week, and on the second interview I asked him to do a challenge, and wait for this is good, this is really good if you want to impress at interview. So I'd said, recruitment company, we have to talk to new clients and get new relationships with clients. So I said to him, Matt, imagine you're applying or you're writing a letter to one of my potential clients and they're a pub company. Write me a letter and then bring it in with you and we'll talk about it. So anyway, he comes, he's got this wine bottle. Okay, and it's got my company's logo on the outside of it, and he's rolled the paper up and stuck it in the top of the wine bottle. Basically his message was message in a bottle. Wow, guess what I did? Anyone guess what I did at that point when he did that? Doesn't happen every day, that. Yeah, anyone going to type? Okay, I'll tell you. I hired him on the spot. So this guy got a job. Not really got a lot of experience, but he got a job because he followed up and he did things slightly differently. So we're on Periscope tonight, the new teleporting phenomenon of social media. Is anyone on LinkedIn? Because this is my 3rd point to find the job that you want in the marketplace. Anyone on LinkedIn? Yeah? Okay. If you're not on LinkedIn, you're looking for a job, I'll give you some advice. Get on LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn is hugely important. And let me tell you why. Because when recruiters or when employers are looking direct in the marketplace for talent, they don't always go to job boards first. They don't always go to recruiters because there's a cost involved. Okay, there's a cost of the advert or there's a cost of the recruitment fee. So what they do is they have a little bit of a fish around on LinkedIn. And when I was working in my recruitment company, a lot of my clients would say to me, Simon, I want you to recruit this job, but just so you know, I'm doing a bit of research on LinkedIn and I might just find somebody directly. Because it's sometimes quicker, it's sometimes cheaper. So you've got to be on there because potentially people are going to contact you directly. But again, you've got to have a really good profile, a bit like your CV, but don't obsess about your profile. What LinkedIn and what social media is all about is two-way engagement. So what you don't do on LinkedIn is just sit there and wait for things to happen. You've got to get in groups that are relevant to the discipline or the sector that you're interested in working in. And you've got to, never heard of LinkedIn? Crikey. Okay, we'll go to linkedin.com. If you want to find a job anytime soon, you need to be on LinkedIn. So what people do on LinkedIn, they need to get into groups. And groups on LinkedIn, in fact, let me put it another way. LinkedIn's like a big ocean, yeah? It's like the ocean. It's huge, all right? You've got to get targeted on LinkedIn. And groups on LinkedIn are like ponds or lakes. And ponds or lakes, that's where fishermen go to catch fish. And the fish in this instance is you potentially to find a job. So if you're looking for a job in creative industries, you want to be a web designer, then you need to get on LinkedIn, join groups on creative design, comment in there, ask questions, engage with people, connect with people, because that's how you'll get found. That's how you'll get found. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I am on LinkedIn. Yeah, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, if you go to linkedin.com, I think it's /in/Simon Gray, Gray, ACA, then you can connect with me. So cool. So the more connections you have on LinkedIn, the more people you can see, and the more people can see you. So it's a two-way street. So just to summarize then, we talked about the 3 things that you can do to find a job today or increase the chances of you finding a job today. First one is stop obsessing about your CV. It's what you do with it, not necessarily what's written on it, although that is important. The second thing is to follow up on applications. Don't just send your CV or your application form out there. You've got to follow up, because of the 10 applications somebody gets, 1 person might follow up. Who do you think is going to get the job? The person that follows up. And thirdly, if you're not on LinkedIn, then get on LinkedIn. Really, really easy. LinkedIn.com. How many days should I take to call back? Good question. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what you don't do. What you don't do is send your CV and call 5 minutes later to see if they've received it. I would usually leave it a day, a couple of days, just to give somebody the chance to do it. If you pester them too much, they're going to get really annoyed. And when I ran my recruitment company, there's a guy that texted me every day to say, I'm still looking for a job. And I never, ever placed that guy in a job. So leave it a couple of days and mix it up. So, if you sent it via email, then don't send another email to chase it up. Connect with the person on LinkedIn or phone up. Nobody phones anymore, do they? Nobody picks up the phone anymore. We've all got these, I'm on my iPhone. We've all got these phones nowadays, but nobody makes a call on them. So what you have to do is to go old fashioned, yeah? Make a call on it. And just ask to speak to the decision maker and say you've sent your CV, just wanted to confirm they got it, see if they had any questions. That's a really good starter for 10. And then ask them a question about their business. Okay, so they're my 3 hot tips. It's getting late here now, so I need to go home. A couple of things just to say. If you like this kind of stuff on Periscope, and it's not all people in the bedroom talking nonsense, there's some serious business people on there like me. If you want advice in the job market, then just follow, connect up to me. I'm going to do one of these every single day. Probably take the weekend as a break or when I go on holiday, but I'm going to give free advice to anyone who wants to listen. Those who don't need to listen. That's cool. Also, if you go to my Facebook page, big announcement here, big announcement. I'm doing an online launch of this book. So I'm doing a digital launch, book launch next week. There's a couple of dates. It's next Thursday and Friday. If you go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Career Codex, that's CODEX, you'll see a number of different links on there. If you click the link, you can sign up free for that webinar. And everyone who joins the webinar and is there at the end will have the opportunity to get a free copy of this book. And don't worry if you're not an executive, you're not in the senior executive space. The lessons in this book important lessons to get now about the job market. If you take them on board now, they'll stand you in good stead for the future. So facebook.com/Career Codex. Follow me on here. That is probably about it, unless anybody has got any questions about anything, preferably the job market, careers or business, because that's what I know quite a bit about. I also know a lot about martial arts. So I train in martial arts and I've traveled all over the world doing that. So has anyone got any questions? Any questions at all? I'll count down from, cool. Thank you. What was cool? I'm intrigued now. Was it the 3 tips or the martial arts? Because that usually gets people's attention. Okay, I'll count down from 10. See where we get to. In my head. I'll do it in my head, otherwise it looks a bit weird. Okay, guys. So I'm going to be back on. I'm going to be back online probably tomorrow morning, bright and early. Probably going to do a quick post about 6:45 UK time. So that'll be late on in the US. So have a good evening. Be good and yeah, try out the tips. See if they work. Let me know. All right. Take care. Bye bye.